It was just that Seattle defense, clamped down. Shout out to Sam Darnold. One of the probably most, when we talk about redemption stories for a quarterback, I think that's one of the best in NFL history. And he goes over to Seattle and wins a Super Bowl, man. A lot of people left him for dead. Shout out for Sam. I think a lot of Jet fans, like me included, are happy for him, actually.
The biggest surprise was that Kenneth Walker was able to dominate the game.
He looked great, bro. He looked amazing. He had a burst that I've seen him play a lot, but yeah, he looked really good.
Although, I will say another surprise is that Sam Darnold was mad shifty. Like, he was able to step up and tuck his shoulder and slide to the side. And he looked like a veteran. So James Harden goes to Cleveland Cavaliers, who are in a more win now mode, right? But it'll be interesting to see how he fits in. There's going to be games where he gives you 40 and it looks like it's the greatest trade in the world.
Do you think that James Harden now puts you in a place to win an NBA championship? Because if you don't, that trade makes no fucking sense.
I don't think so. Giannis, who was locked to get traded, and that was all the buzz, and we're going to trade Giannis and blah, blah, blah. He didn't get traded. That was what everyone was hoping to see. I think every team threw everything at it. This lineup of people in the slam dunk contest is crazy work.
It's the worst I've ever seen, and that's saying something. Sad, Maddie.
Horrible, bro. Welcome back to the Can't Teach Tape podcast with your boys Matt Ganem and Todd Tomlinson. Got a lot of stuff to get to today. We're post NBA trade deadline and we're post Super Bowl. What's good?
Wild, man. What's good?
Man, just excited about how those bets went, man. Had a bunch of people over yesterday. Wifey put together a taco bar, made some refried black beans, some rice, and we had some barbacoa and some chicken tacos. It was a nice little spread. Had about 10 people over. What did you get into for the big game?
Went to my sister's crib, had some family over. My sister cooks her famous fried chicken, which I always like and eat too much of, man. Nice barbecue spread out there. But I know Gina can cook and throw down, man. So I'm mad I missed that. But I'll have to come next year out to Arizona and check that out. But ate way too much food, bro. Way too much food. Feeling it today. Gonna have to get on that treadmill later for 2 hours and knock that shit off. But man, that was good. It was good. Sad that football's over, but had a good time.
Yeah, I agree, man. You got Super Bowl in LA next year, though. So
yeah. It's gonna be popping. Got the NBA All-Star weekend out here this year. Super Bowl next year.
This week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Which we're gonna get into. It was a good time. Obviously the Super Bowl. It was kind of went how I thought it would. I didn't think New England would be that poor. They didn't block for Drake Maye. Drake Maye didn't move. Drake Maye didn't run enough, which is one of the bets that he hit the yards but not the carries. And, he only had one carry in the first half. And he got sacked probably 4 times. It's he has the ability to move. He just didn't. I don't know what it was, man. It looked to me like New England came off of a short week, not a 2-week break. They didn't install any gadget plays, which I was sure they were going to. Thought Josh McDaniels would come up with 1 or 2 flea flicker or end around pass or some, hook and ladder or something to just, keep the defense, at bay, but nothing, man. And it was crazy, dude. It was, and I don't know, man. What were your thoughts on New England? Because it was just not, they didn't look like a Super Bowl team.
It was it was boring. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, it was one of those Super Bowls where it was just, I guess to a true football fan, you can appreciate a defensive battle. It was boring. You never really felt like New England had a chance, even though they're holding Seattle to field goals. Seattle's still moving the ball, and Seattle had chances to score touchdowns. There's that one broken play where Sam scrambles and Jackson Smith and Jigba cuts down the field, and Sam just overthrows them. They were getting in the red zone a couple times, couldn't convert, so they were kicking field goals. So it always felt like New England was in the game, but New England wasn't even getting the ball past midfield. They were doing nothing. So it never felt like they were really in the game to me. They couldn't move the ball, couldn't protect Drake Maye. The left side of the offensive line was putrid, bro. And I never even used that word. It might be the first time I've ever used that word. They were putrid, dog. Will Campbell, for all the hype he kept getting all year as a rookie out of LSU, he was awful. I think he gave up 7 pressures, something wild. And Seattle was only rushing 4. I mean, they brought a couple of really well-timed and designed blitzes with the defensive backs, but for the most part, they're rushing 4, getting to Drake Maye. But Drake Maye had time, and when he did have time to throw the ball, he wasn't making good passes. He had some opportunities, didn't make good passes, held onto the ball too long. To your point, Josh McDaniels did nothing to help him either. You'd think they'd do something to maybe help him use his legs, get him outside the pocket, some designed runs, like something, but it looked like what we thought it would look like. That I'm not here to hate, bro, but New England had the most fortunate, easy, and lucky road to the Super Bowl that we've seen in a long time. The jig was finally up. They played a team that was better, and they just, they had no answers, man. It was just, it seemed hopeless. Never thought they were in it, and they looked, I don't know if they were ill-prepared or just were, like, not good enough to be on the same field as the Seahawks.
Well, what's interesting is the Seahawks were the worst defense that New England faced in a while, and they're still good defense, right? New England's a top 7 defense, but I remember they just beat 1 and 2, granted with no quarterbacks, but they beat 1 and 2 in the last 2 weeks of the AFC playoffs, and so you'd think they'd have something figured out for a defense that hasn't played as well all season. Obviously, Drake Maye had a good season. Somehow he was runner-up MVP, but I mean, also the quarterbacks they played all year long, they just somehow were like hitting each one, whether it was someone injured or the team that just wasn't good. So they won the games they were supposed to win. So you can't be mad at that.
Nope.
But I mean, it would have been ugly if it was Denver too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It would have been even more boring because Denver wouldn't have been able to move the ball. It got interesting in the second half, right? Because, my thought was that once Seattle got up, because I knew they would get up, 2 scores, it would open up the game. But New England still, to your point, even though it was 9-0 at halftime, 6-0, 3 and 6-0 for most of the half, it's one of those games where the score tells you that it's close, but it's not. New England probably went 5 or 6 times in a row, 3 and out. It's also hard to win a Super Bowl without skill players. They don't have any. They just don't. Maybe Tom Brady's won them without great skill players, but not many, quarterbacks are able to do that. And obviously they have a top defense. I will say too, the biggest surprise was that Kenneth Walker was able to dominate the game.
He looked great, bro. He looked amazing. He had a burst that I've seen him play a lot, but yeah, he looked really good.
I mean, addition by subtraction for Seattle. If they had Charbonnet and they gave him half the touches, it would have been a very different game. Same thing if Detroit loses David Montgomery and is forced to play Jahmyr Gibbs. The rub is for both of these teams that if you play Kenneth Walker the whole time or Jahmyr Gibbs, you're going to have to pay him and you don't want to. So maybe that's why they don't. But Kenneth Walker was a beast. I thought he wouldn't be able to run. First play of the game, 10-yard run. I was like, damn.
I agree.
And a lot of the people had his over-under at 77.5 yards to take the under. I mean, he smashed that by halftime, I think.
Nuts. They did. He's passed by halftime.
He was balling out. I mean, that changed the entire dynamic of the game. They only sacked Sam Darnold 1 time. Although, I will say another surprise is that Sam Darnold was mad shifty. Like, he was able to, step up and, tuck his shoulder and slide to the side. And he looked like a veteran. He was able to move around in the pocket. I think he only had 1 scramble, which did hit the over for his longest rush. I wouldn't have bet that, but I mean, he only had 1 scramble, but he moved in the pocket so effectively. Drake Maye can do that too. He can run it more effectively also, but he just didn't. And maybe that comes with time. I don't know why they weren't prepared for that. Maybe they didn't think Seattle would be able to get to the quarterback. To your point, the rookie, the 4th overall pick, got cooked. But he did only allow 1 out of the 6 sacks, so it was coming from everywhere, bro. Like, that was just not – he had no chance. Your boys did give you, though, some bets that you should have did well with. Smash on the 22.5, Kenneth Walker over that receiving yards. Drake Maye, even with way less carries than, he didn't hit the over and less than he had historically done. He still passed the 36.5 rushing yards. I mean, Drake Maye interception, which I said was a lock, it was bad. He tried to throw. He threw 2. He tried to throw 5, though.
Yeah. There were a couple.
Yeah, there was a couple in the first half where it's just like, dude, what are you doing? And also, they'd have 3rd and 6, and they would hand the ball off to Ramondre. Not even a play action, not a fake, nothing. Just straight halfback dive, get no yards. Cooper Kupp over on the receiving yards, over on the catches. I think he had 6. Maybe. Yeah, he smashed. I mentioned Seattle spread. We both mentioned Seattle spread cover. I had a 6.5. I mean, if you would have bet it at 12, you would have done well. And what's crazy is they only took two. They only threw the ball to Kayshawn, I think, twice, maybe, or 3 times. The first catch of the game was 21 yards, hit the over, locked it up for you guys at 17.5. But like, they weren't really taking shots.
No.
Like, especially in a game where you can't move the ball. And there was one play. It was like towards the end of the second quarter, they had gotten like 8 or 9 on first down. Play action, right? Got to take a shot to Kayshawn. They're like the 45-yard line on their side. They run the ball up the middle for -2 yards for Ramondre Stevenson, throw an incomplete pass and punt. And I'm just like, take that shot.
Take a shot. Yeah.
Get
Seattle was playing a lot of cover. Yeah, I agree. Seattle was playing a lot of cover too, which makes it a little harder to take the shot, but you got to set it up, man. And Josh McDaniels normally is really good at setting up plays to set up another play. But there was no play there. I'm like, wow, they schemed that up or they caught them there or whatever. It was just all kind of, I don't know if they didn't trust Drake Maye or, what it was, man. But yeah, they didn't take enough shots down the field. Even when they needed to score, they're throwing like 5-yard slants and 5-yard outs. I mean, at some point you got to take shots, maybe draw past interference, push the ball downfield a little bit more, but they didn't. So yeah, it was just that Seattle defense, clamped down. Shout out to Sam Darnold. One of the probably most, when we talk about redemption stories for a quarterback, I think that's one of the best in NFL history. Obviously, the story with the Jets. Didn't work out for either side, right? He was young, not a great situation, goes to Carolina, kind of the same thing. Finally goes to San Francisco. He's able to learn under Shanahan. He doesn't play, but he learns the system and, gets better from better coaching, goes to Minnesota, plays great, 14-3. For some reason, they think J.J. McCarthy's a better option for him. And he goes over to Seattle and wins a Super Bowl, man. A lot of people left him for dead. But, shout out for Sam. I think a lot of Jet fans, like me included, are happy for him, actually. We don't hate on the guy. But, wild. Got to feel great for Sam. And wonder how Geno Smith is feeling right now.
I mean, Geno Smith.
What do you think? What do you think Geno Smith is feeling? And how do you think the Minnesota Vikings are feeling right now?
Minnesota Vikings have to be way worse than Geno Smith, man. And also, obviously, homeboy got fired for the GM for making that decision, which is
as
crazy.
He should.
J.J. McCarthy. I mean,
wow. Crazy.
Sam Darnold. I mean, how many times has a quarterback left a team and went to a team and won a Super Bowl the first year? It's crazy.
And how many teams have let a quarterback go after going 14-3? A young quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they like the younger one, right? But still,
yeah.
dude, at this time, he's got 10 years more. You know what I mean? So it's like that doesn't make sense. It's crazy. It was a great game by Seattle. You can't complain. I will say this: the game was too big for Jackson Smith and Jigba, which he had never showed us before. The drops. I mean,
he looked a little off.
He stopped looking at him. Honestly, he stopped
looking
looking at him.
Looked uncomfortable. Obviously, he had that concussion or
he had 2 drops, big drops before those.
He had a couple of drops. He had 1 or 2, in the second half. He had a couple, chunk plays. But obviously, I don't know exactly what New England's game plan was. I'm sure it was the shadow to JSN, and I can't see, like when you're watching the game, you can't see on the back end if he's getting doubled or not. But so maybe they had him bracketed pretty well. But to your point, when he had a couple opportunities to make some catches, he dropped the ball. But they still were able to win, man. Without a big game from JSN, you're still able to win the game. So
AJ Barner ate some of those targets too in crunch time. He's more athletic than I thought he was. He was a beast.
He played really well. Yeah, he's good. I like him. He's good. He's really good.
We'll see what happens next year. New England, obviously, this young left tackle will get better. They'll do something, but they're going to need to get him some help. At least, one volume receiver. I mean, Diggs. I don't know, man. That's tough.
Need more. But let me tell you this, man. I know everybody that loves New England and all the New England fans who I don't like, who I can't stand. I got a couple of friends who are New England fans. Feel good because you got Vrabel and you got Drake Maye, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get back. There's just not. It's the NFL, man. You see it. Josh Allen has been the best quarterback in the NFL for years, with solid teams, here and there. Still hasn't even made it to a Super Bowl. Dan Marino only made it to one Super Bowl. There's no guarantee you're going to make it back. I'm not trying to like pour salt in the wound, but man, it's so hard to get there. You're there. You had a very fortunate run to get there this year. I think Drake Maye is going to be just fine, man. He's a great player. I think Vrabel's a great coach, but that roster, there's a lot to be desired, man. Like I don't look at that roster like Christian Gonzalez is great. I think he's, you got a lot of really good cornerstone pieces, but that roster needs a lot of work to really compete, because next year it's not. I mean, the Broncos, the Texans, see what Buffalo ends up doing. Like all these teams, it's going to be tougher for them to make it back next year than was this year for sure. So we'll see, man. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: if Buffalo had that path to the playoffs, we might be having a different conversation.
Oh yeah, for 100%. I still think Buffalo is a better team.
And to your point, I mean, Dan Marino was the only quarterback younger than Drake Maye to start a Super Bowl. He never win again.
Never win again.
And he's an all-time great. You know?
Yep.
So,
and health, you need luck, man. Health plays a factor in it. You know what I mean? He was healthy this year. Like
everything.
All that. You see what happens, man. These quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, went to the Super Bowl and ever since been dealing with injury after injury. Like, right? Joe Burrow had the chance. And you look at all these other quarterbacks, and even Patrick Mahomes now dealing with injury. And it takes luck, dude. And you were there and it didn't convert. But, yeah, we'll see. Like, I don't think they're going to be the favorites to make it back in the AFC next year. In the beginning of the year, I don't think they'll be looked at as a favorite.
I mean, good young core, but to your point, might not make it back. Might be 5 years, might be in 8 years, might be next year and never again. But you never know. Yeah, man. So heck of a Super Bowl, great finish, and they almost hit the over, but Kenneth Walker, busted one out to blow him out. Yeah, the NFL needed it to Seattle to not cover, to them to win money line and not cover, because so many of the bets were on the spread, and then they also needed the under to hit. So I don't know if they called it in. Obviously, there was holding on the play, but there's probably holding on every one of those plays.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could call holding on every one of those, man. You let that go.
Yep, football's over, man. We'll be interested to see the draft coming up soon, see what happens, trades, etc.
Yep, we'll have some thoughts on the draft. Both of our teams are picking high. All right, I've already done some research. We're going to start researching the draft. Maybe we'll do a little mock draft for you guys, at least picks 1 through 15 as we get a little closer.
I need 5 first-round picks. You can have Fernando Mendoza.
We got 5 of those, man. We need every one, though, brother. So
and I need some linemen too. But anyway, that's a wrap on the NFL. Let's hop into the trades and maybe start with the trades that didn't happen. So, obviously Giannis, who was a lock to get traded, and that was all the buzz, and we're going to trade Giannis and blah, blah, blah. He didn't get traded. That was what everyone was hoping to see. I mean, I think every team threw everything at it. I know the Warriors threw 6 first-round picks at least, probably Kuminga, probably. I mean, they also said that they had to include Jimmy Butler or Draymond to make the salaries work. So you got Jimmy Butler or Draymond, you got Jonathan Kuminga, you probably got Moody or Pods, and you got 6 first-round picks. And if you don't want that, I don't know what you're going to get, because you're not getting comparable players. Because nobody, like the amount of comparable players for Giannis, you know what I mean? You can't. So, if they don't want 6 first-round picks, they didn't want to trade him. I don't know what the point of that was. I don't know what your thoughts are, but maybe Shams needs to get it together, because he's telling us all this.
Yeah, he's telling us all this, and I don't know what Milwaukee's doing. I think the thought process is they'll get more. They wait to the offseason, but like this NBA draft coming up is a generational draft. Like, you know what I mean? I would want assets, and I'd want everything. Picks. Yes, for this draft. Not only that, I want to be as bad as I can be for this draft. I don't know if you're not planning on playing Giannis the rest of the year. You probably are, but Giannis is going to win you games, which is going to help hurt your draft stock coming into this draft. This draft, I'm telling you, is generational. There's so many blue chip, best NBA draft from my standpoint in a really long time. So if I'm Milwaukee, I want to load up on draft picks, not just for this draft, but for drafts in the future, OKC model. But also I want to be as bad as I can be this year, so that way I can get a better draft pick this year and leverage it that way. I don't know what waiting does. Maybe they think they'll be able to get a package with young players. You're going nowhere as Milwaukee, as a team with him. You're floating around this trade forever. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, but that would be my mindset. Just move on. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Like having them around, I don't know. If it's inevitable, you move on. You get as much as you can, and you start with this upcoming draft, right? So I don't know, man. They did get Cam Thomas. Maybe they think that our boy Cam Thomas, the walking bucket, who when we were at the game last week, we knew this was happening because he looked about as disinterested as you can be on an NBA bench. The guy wasn't even paying attention. They get Cam Thomas, which we know isn't going to do anything for Milwaukee. He's a good scorer.
He came in, gave buckets. They'd sit him, especially in crunch time, and he was just like sitting there, like looking over here, looking over there, not engaged. I don't know how they're not playing him because, I mean, man, that team's not good.
Nope. They got in a fight. There's a fight. There's a scuffle, and Cam Thomas didn't even lift a foot off the bench. He was just –
he wasn't getting up.
Nah, it's like I'm
Michael Porter Jr. could have been getting smoked, and he would have just been chilling.
Yeah, whatever.
You know what I mean?
So I would have loved to see Giannis go, and when he does this offseason, I hope he goes to a team like, Golden State, a team with, a Steph Curry, where we can make great players like that who are at the tail end of their career relevant again and give them a puncher's chance to win.
And we'll talk about through this as we go through each team's trade deadline and what they did and what they're doing. But to your point, man, generational draft, and people are tanking like it's going out of style. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. I think Milwaukee has a pick swap with the Pelicans. So obviously the Pelicans pick will be worse, so it probably doesn't matter. But they should still not win anyways. Those teams should be trying to finish last and second to last.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll get into the trades that Memphis did make, but they did not trade Ja Morant, which he's the last piece of their team, essentially from their perennial playoff team a few years back. And Todd mentioned before we started, the rumor is that he's a negative value, which means you got to give me Ja and X, Y, and Z if you're going to want something. But the real problem is I don't think anyone wants Ja, right? He hasn't, shown that he can be a teammate, or he hasn't shown that, he's going to tell his dad to stay home and that he's going to focus on basketball.
Right.
And so what do you do with them if you're Memphis? Obviously they're stacking, but what do you do with Ja Morant?
It's tough because the value isn't there, and you look at Ja Morant, who's supposed to be your centerpiece, and you're like, we're gonna get something for him so we can rebuild. You get rid of Jaren Jackson, and now you got Ja, who you just got to get rid of, man. He's a distraction. He still hasn't grown up. Clearly, hasn't proven to be a winner, but wildly talented. So you figured some team will take a chance in hopes of him maturing or developing him or whatever that looks like. But yeah, like Windhorst was saying, like he has negative value. Like if we're going to take Ja Morant, you got to give us like a pick or something else in addition to that to take this guy, because it could blow up, and teams these days just don't want to deal with stuff like that, right? Especially from a guy like Ja Morant. So if you're in Memphis, you're in a terrible spot. You're obviously trying to start over. Now you got rid of Bane, got rid of Jaren Jackson, that nucleus of a team that at one point we thought were going to be contenders in the West because they were young and hungry and winning games. And that team was actually really fun to watch. That's done. So now you're trying to completely rebuild, and you just kind of have Ja just kind of out there, right? The only way it would work, I would think, is if he goes to a team like a Miami. Miami would be a terrible place for him, like the city, obviously. But I'm saying an organization that has culture, structure, some veterans and people that can kind of keep Ja in his place. That's the only way that a situation like that would work. And I don't know if teams like that really, really want to bring him in and risk fracturing or disrupting what they already have. So when I'm sitting here thinking of like what team would make sense to bring Ja Morant in where he could help him win, I can't even think of one, dude. Like, talented as hell, but what team, if I'm asking you, Matt, like what team would you say, damn, like they need Ja would be great there. He'd play well there. He'd fit in. It's hard, man. I don't know.
I don't think so, man. I mean, they should have traded him earlier. I mean, maybe in the offseason. Because if you remember, if you go back to last playoffs, there's an argument to be made that before Ja Morant got hurt, it would have been 2-2 in the first round of the playoffs. They were right there. And that's still crazy to think about. And Ja went bananas on them in one of those games. And, I mean, he went bananas on the Warriors plenty of times, back when all three of those guys were together. So, they needed to move him. Obviously, they moved Bane because, Orlando wanted the 3-and-D and they were willing to give a grip for him. So they said, whatever, you got to do it, especially if you know that it's coming to an end. But, I think they needed to move Josh sooner than later, and I think it's too late now. What are you going to do? You can't also take this guy now and trade him for – you're not trading for anything. You're essentially trading him to get rid of the contract. You're not getting any value. You're not getting picks. So, obviously they can pick because they had a really strong team, but it's crazy. I thought he was going to move too. I'm sure they tried to, but you couldn't get him to move. So we'll see what happens in the offseason with that. But you're not going to get a lot for him. Or his contract's going to expire and he's going to go play somewhere for $7 million or something.
Yeah,
maybe he'll earn another contract, maybe. But, crazy to see. Before we get into the Golden State Warriors trade, shout out Big Face Coffee. Congrats to Jimmy and Co. for opening their second location. They have one in Miami, which I'm sure was in the works when he was there. They just opened one in downtown San Francisco, I think like a week ago. So shout out Big Face. If you're in the area, grab some. If not, you can get some online. It's fire stuff. But our boy Mike Dunleavy finally woke up. Sort of. He might have been in a nap while he made this trade. After all that conversation in a year and a half or however long of Jonathan Kuminga trade talk, you trade Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield for Kristaps Porzingis, who's about as available as Anthony Davis, although if healthy would be a great complement to what they need. 7'4" rim protecting big man who can also shoot and stretch the floor. It looks like with Buddy, they need to make the pay work, but they also got rid of the next 2 years of him making $9 or $10 million a year, and they weren't playing him. Yep. So that's good. Jonathan Kuminga's on a Atlanta Hawks friendly deal. My guess is Kuminga goes in, balls out, they extend him. He's going to hoop. They got a good young core there. And I don't know what their plan is because Steph's not playing. He didn't play the last couple nights, and I watched him at the on the sidelines jumping up and down and stuff. So
he looks
I think he's healthy, and I know it's a knee issue, so he wouldn't be jumping up and down, right? So and Steph's not even playing tonight, right? Same thing. So you're not playing Kristaps, you're not playing Steph, right? Obviously, you have Draymond. Maybe if Jimmy comes back next year and you have these four guys and you can put a little bit more around him, maybe that's the ticket. But Kristaps Porzingis' deal expires this year, so I don't know what they're doing. Are they going to extend him? Like, what are they doing, right? And is he healthy? Obviously, they needed to get rid of Kuminga, right? Because if they wait till the offseason, there's no value, probably. And Buddy, they need to get rid of. But $10 million for Buddy, who 1 out of 4 games is going to hoop. So I don't really know how I feel about that. It doesn't make any sense to me. But they also devalued Kuminga so much that you can't get anything for him. So
that too. Maybe they're clearing space, obviously. Maybe they don't plan on re-signing Porzingis. Who knows? But hopefully.
You trade Kuminga for nothing? You should just cut him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm trying to make it make sense.
The only thing that I could think of is that he's due $9 million next year. Buddy's due 9 and Buddy's due 10. And you can't, if you cut him, you still got to pay him. So that still hits the cap. Maybe that's what it is. So you get that off the books. You get Kristaps off the books. So what do you got? 30, 40, you can sign one player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. Nope. Maybe this is a move for the offseason, and who knows what they're thinking. But
and they traded Trace Jackson Davis for a second-round pick. So that's obviously they're going to try to use that in some kind of trade. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were surprised they could get a second. I like Trace, but they weren't playing anyway, so it doesn't matter.
They're loading up on some capital, but you got to. I feel like if I'm the Warriors, I'm doing drastic moves to try to facilitate the next couple of years and help Steph win. You still got an elite Steph Curry. So
do you is it a sign and trade for Kristaps to get rid of him or something like that? So you get something back for him? It's got to be, right? They're not just going to cut him, I hope.
No.
So that's it for the Warriors. They're cooked. I
like the Alvarado trade for the Knicks. I thought that helped them. Jose Alvarado.
Let's get into that. Obviously, you trade nothing. It's essentially some of these trades, it was just one player moving. So you got Jose Alvarado going to the Knicks.
Yeah.
I think
you have a Selly.
I love that trade. He's a shooter. He's gritty.
You need defense. It's perimeter D. Like if you think about the Knicks and Jalen Brunson, who isn't an elite defender at all. You bring Jordan Clarkson. He's not an elite defender. Alvarado is that pest. He's, going to pick you up the full length of the court, just steals, physical defense. You just need that type of player. He's gritty. Is anybody more New York than Jose Alvarado? He's from Brooklyn, but I mean, it's just like
From BK.
he's right. Christ the King High School. I mean, I think that's where he went, but he's New York. It just makes sense. But they need that because the Knicks, they have some good defenders, but at the point guard position and picking up the ball full court, when you look at Brunson or Kolek or Jordan Clarkson, they didn't have anybody who was really an elite on ball defender who can guard the point guard. Obviously, Bridges is a good defender. Og's a solid defender, but they needed that. They needed a little bit more like toughness and grit because the defensive side is where they've been lacking. So I like the pickup a lot for the Knicks. Surprised they were out though before Milwaukee even said they weren't going to trade Giannis. The Knicks said that they were cool. Maybe they're waiting for the offseason too, which from what I heard, they said they like what they have and want to see where this team can go. And at that time, they were on an 8-game winning streak until the Pistons took belt to ass on Friday, to the Knicks, even though the Knicks are super shorthanded. But we'll see. Leon Rose, and they feel like they got a team that can compete to win the East. So, we will see. But I like the Jose Alvarado pickup a lot. And then, staying in the East. And
real quick, before you jump, I think two things. One, I think they realized they couldn't come up with the best package for Giannis, so you might as well pretend like you like Cat or you like whatever you were willing to trade, right? You might as well.
I think they don't. I think they've already told people they don't really like Cat, but
of course, but you know what I mean. You got to pretend you're going to compete because you can't come out of the East. I think even it'll be in crunch time situations in the playoffs where you're like fouling defense, they're going to sub out Brunson and put Alvarado in, and Brunson will come back in after the next possession.
Offensive possession,
yeah. That's what they do with Steph in crunch time sometimes, and I think that's what you're going to see, and that'll be a huge upgrade. And shit, if Alvarado stays in, he can shoot. So, I like Alvarado's game, man. He's a gritty player. I feel like any team could use him. So it was a good pickup by your boys for sure.
Yeah, and they whooped the Celtics in Boston yesterday without OG. The game wasn't close at all. Obviously, the Celtics still don't have Tatum, but Vucevic played great in his opener. Didn't look so good yesterday at all. He played terrible, actually. But I do think that's going to be a solid pickup, for the Celtics that'll help them in the
it's
in
huge,
the long run.
Man. I think
for sure. He didn't play well yesterday, but he's gonna help them a lot because he's a big who can score. He can stretch the floor too. He's kind of like a Porzingis type, but he's going to be more available. Probably more willing rebounder too. So
he's a shooter. I like that. I liked him for the Warriors, but I like him for the Warriors last year.
Yeah, he would have been great for the Warriors. Yep.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
He helps everyone. It's interesting what the Bulls did though. They received Jaden Ivey, Colin Sexton, Dieng, Yabusele, and Simons. They freed up salary cap space, so they have like $85 million for next year, right? So that's what they're doing is they're getting ready for the offseason because they helped out the Pistons, they helped out the Celtics a lot, and the Celtics, man, like they don't need any help, especially with Jason Tatum coming back.
Right.
So the Bulls are obviously, and they got like 14,000 second-round picks available now, so they're going to do something.
How many guards do they have now, man? God damn. You still got Giddey and all these other guys. Like, this is a team full of, like guards. It's wild.
They're going to trade and sign and do whatever they can. But trading everyone in the conference is crazy. That's what they do. Obviously, I like Vucevic's trade for Boston a lot. They got rid of Horford. They got rid of Porzingis. They lost Holiday. They got rid of a lot of people, so they need, and they're still winning games, which is crazy, but without Tatum. But, they get a 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is, shooter that can play defense, and he's a willing defender. So, you can't be mad at that. Let's see what else we got here. He's like 15 to 20 and 10, man, for sure. So I like that. It's interesting too. I guess we can talk about maybe the Clippers. Move to the West, right? You have essentially, they got Benedict Mathurin and 3 picks, 2 firsts for Zubac, which, obviously they have Brooks Lopez. So maybe that's what they're doing. I like when they play both of them together, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Zubac is going to replace Miles Turner, I guess. And this team stinks. They're going to lose. They're going to have one of those top picks. They're going to pick a Savage. They're going to have Tyrese Halliburton come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're gonna be good, man. I think that trade kind of benefited both teams for what they're trying to do. I like Zubac a lot. He's gonna help them. He
Yeah,
is. He's gonna help them. And I like Benedict Mathurin. I think he's a good, just athletic young wing. So I know the Clippers
I like
clearly
Mathurin. He was huge
clearly
for them in
what
the
they've
playoffs.
done. Yeah, clearly what the Clippers have done is, and we'll talk about the other trade is try to get younger.
I mean, I don't like Garland at all. I think.
You don't like Darius?
I mean, he's young and he's hurt and I don't know.
He's hurt too much, man. But he's a former All-Star. He's young. He's got game, man. He can shoot the ball. He can score. But to your point, he's just always hurt. But he is a talented player.
So they both make $40 million. So James Harden goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are in a more win now mode, right? So you have a walking 30 piece. Maybe he's not a winner. Maybe he will be. I don't know. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he fits in. There's going to be games where he gives you 40, and it looks like it's the greatest trade in the world. We'll see how it goes long term, though.
I don't get it, man. I don't fucking get it. Do you think that James Harden now puts you in a place to win an NBA championship? Because if you don't, that trade makes no fucking sense.
I don't think so.
I don't either, because you still have a young roster when you have Mobley as your centerpiece, obviously. And you had Garland, who's young, and Donovan Mitchell, who isn't young, but he's not 36. So if you're going to get rid of Garland, I would still try to bring in another good young piece to continue to build with my young core. You're bringing in James Harden, who's going to give you really a 1 to 2 year window to try to make this thing work. He's not a winner, and I just don't know how, with the amount that he controls the ball, how that's going to affect.
No, dude.
Donovan Mitchell. You know what I mean? I don't.
It's not running a system. It's not.
I don't
dude.
See it, dude.
Next year, the Knicks will be better than they are this year because they might make a move. Halliburton comes back. They got Zubac now, right? They're going to play. Then you got Tatum will be 100% healthy next year. And Harden's only here for 2 years, right? You're probably not paying him another $40 million. So if you don't win this year, it's like you're not going to win next year. You're just not. And Detroit's going to improve so much with just Cade and them just getting better. Jalen Duren's already like a top 3 or top 5 most improved player in the NBA. He's a monster.
Team's good, man.
That team's good. I mean, the East is turning around a little bit at the top, and it's just like, what are you going to do with James Harden? Unless you're going to trade James Harden somehow in the offseason. I don't think you are.
You could have traded Garland. If you want to trade Garland, but you could have got another player, like a younger player, like, I don't know, a player that fit better. And I could be dead wrong. And obviously Harden's still playing at a super high level. I mean, the guy is a walking bucket. He can score, but if you can show me, a time he's won. He demands the ball too much. He holds the ball too much. He's still a great player, but I just don't know how it's going to fit. Could be wrong. I mean, I guess we'll see, but you're really rolling the dice for 1 to 2 years to give it a shot. And I don't think, I still don't think they're going to do it.
I mean, Harden could win you series or maybe a few. I mean, remember, the greatest Warriors team they ever had got taken deep by the Rockets.
Yeah.
Smashed the Cavs. So, I mean, maybe Harden will give you 40 and 40 and 45 and you beat someone you shouldn't, but he's going to have to do that and do that again and then get to the chip and do that again. Maybe he can, but the odds are he doesn't. I don't know. That trade's weird, man. I didn't get that one. I didn't even believe it. I thought it was fake.
Yeah.
Why would you trade someone young? I mean, maybe he's not available, but if James Harden isn't going to be that answer, and maybe it's their only shot. Maybe they think that's their only shot. Maybe it is, but I don't know, dude.
Find out.
So, maybe the last big one we need to talk to. Let's talk about the Suns real quick. Then we'll get into to some big moves. They trade Nick Richards, who never played anyways, Nigel Hayes-Davis, who didn't play much, for Cole Anthony, who they'll probably cut, is my guess, or buy out or whatever. Because, the Suns need about as many guards as the Bulls do, right? And then they got Amir Coffey, who, is 6'7", can shoot the ball a little bit, hasn't played much in the last couple of years, but, this Grayson Allen injury. So you're essentially just getting rid of the salaries. You're saving some money if you're the Suns, but this Grayson Allen injury, depending on how long it goes, maybe he could play some of Grayson's minutes just because he's a little bigger, than whether it's Colin Gillespie or Jalen Green or whatever. I don't really even understand that trade outside of trying to save money. Maybe that's what it was. Gets rid of some players you're not going to play, get some other players that you may play. So
You may play Cole Anthony. I guess it depends on like after Gillespie, like they need some backup point guards. I know you're playing.
You got Book.
Abuye. What's my guy's name?
Abuye, dude. Yeah, I mean he gets buckets. Well, you got Royce. I mean, you got like so many people that play the 1 through 3.
Yeah. So, shoot point guard though, it's really just Gillespie, Abuye, and then I think Cole Anthony's a true 1. Like Booker's not a 1. He can bring the ball up the court, but he's an actual 2 guard. You want him shooting the ball. Obviously, Dylan Brooks. Like these guys can bring the ball up the court, but they're not actual point guards. We're going to put people in their place and set up an offense and do stuff like that. So I think you bring in Cole Anthony as maybe some insurance to be able to do that. Abuye, talented guy. When we were watching that game, I was like, "Who is this dude?" But he's not
a bucket, but that's it.
He's not somebody. Yeah, you're gonna want to play in crunch time.
They have so many small guys, but shit, it's working because they're making 3-pointers like it's going out of style, man.
Yeah, so you spread the floor. It's the way you want to play. I guess they have an identity of how they want to play, right? So, you just kind of add to the depth there. And if you're worried about this Gillespie injury, or Gillespie, and you're worried about this Grayson Allen injury and some other things, and just gives you some insurance there. So. Don't hate it because to your point, Richards wasn't playing at all anyway.
Malawatch, dude, if that guy could figure it out, he's actually becomes a 10 overall pick,
he will.
Suns are a problem. It may not be this year, but they're a problem.
Yeah, you got to give him time, man. He's young. It's good that he can sit behind, and Mark Williams is playing solid, so you don't have to depend on him as much. Because usually when you're like a top 10 pick, you're forced to have to play a ton. So this is the perfect situation for him. I think he's going to be like way better even next year. But yeah, man. I mean, we'll see. Dylan Brooks is still putting up numbers. Excited for D Book to get fully healthy, and Jalen Green, and see how this thing looks in a month. But
it's going to be interesting, man. They got a squad. I don't know if they can do anything this year, just because I think Mark Williams just isn't that. But he's had a couple games, so we'll see. The last big trade was Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yep.
Beast. Essentially for Walter Clayton Jr., slow-mo, and call it 3 first. And there's a couple other players in there, but I guess it doesn't matter.
That intrigues me, man. Marketing and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Kessler.
Yeah. But those two, and Kessler, and then obviously, if Ace Bailey can continue to grow. He hasn't had the type of year I thought he was, but
Keontae too, man. They got some ballers.
I mean, that's the key. I mean, that guy is the bucket. He's the best player on their team. I mean, but you got Jaren Jackson Jr. marketing, and you got Keontae. I mean, Keontae is a problem.
And you got Lonzo. We'll see what they do with him. But also 8 first-round picks in the next 7 years on top of all that youth.
Danny Ainge, huh? Yeah. Yeah,
running the OKC playbook, except for their team's stacked. Their team's stacked, and they have all those picks. So,
and you get some good young players, man. So
I'm interested to see what Utah does. They've already, Ty was mentioning earlier, I didn't catch that, but they already tanked the game by benching Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. for the fourth quarter of the game. But they do lose their pick if it's not a top 8 pick, which means they need to be bottom 4.
They need to be shitty.
They have to. You can't give up a top 8 pick, which really will be better than a top 8 pick this year specifically. Maybe you add dude, you're not even. I mean, if you're in the middle of the first round, you might get a Pete. You're not you need to. If you have a top 10 possible pick, you need to keep it.
And we were talking about it, man. This draft, it's special. The freshmen. I don't know if the Duke UNC game was incredible, but Caleb Wilson, a ridiculous baller. Boozer, baller. Pete, baller. Kingston Fleming from Houston, baller. AJ DeBanza, baller. Patterson, obviously, probably the number 1 pick from Kansas, baller. That boy from Illinois, that tall, floppy hair kid is a problem, baller. Mikael Brown from Louisville. I mean, and these are all freshmen. It's just a generational draft that's going to have a lot of high-level players. So if you get a top 5 pick in this draft, you're getting a cornerstone probably, right? Some of these guys are pretty close to can't miss. Some of these guys have that Cooper Flag, maybe not as high, but that Cooper Flag type of, the floor is so high, the ceiling's high, and the floor, like, you're not gonna. It's hard to miss with some of these dudes. So
it is. But you know what we missed? There was one I had on my second trade on notes, but then you took it. We missed one of the biggest trades. So you trade Chris Middleton, and 2 firsts and 3 seconds for Anthony Davis.
For Glass Man.
Right? You got D'Lo, who I think is going to get cut, and then Exum. I text one of the homies and was like, "Oh, your boy D'Lo." This was right when that trade happened. I was like, "Going to my hometown. Let me know if you need anything." Joking around, and he goes, "Nah, he getting cut." And then
probably
they announced that they were keeping him, and then 2 days later, text me. He's like, "See, he's going to get cut." But so AD, you add AD to Trae Young and Alex Sarr, right? And the other young kids they have, it's like the first time the Wizards have tried to be good in a long time. But apparently Anthony Davis is unhappy. He's already said that. He changed his profile picture from a picture of him with a Mavericks jersey on to just a black circle. So, I mean, AD's straight cut from the LeBron cloth like that. Whatever. He's going to get cut for that.
Let's not disrespect LeBron like that, Maddie. Let's not disrespect LeBron. What I will say is I don't know who AD can be mad at because he's the most the most unavailable player in the history of the NBA. At least unavailable star player. And I can't remember another high-level player who gets hurt as frequently as Anthony Davis. And these injuries are you're watching the replay and a guy brushes his shoulder, then AD is just crouched over in pain and is out for 2 months. He's just the most unavailable player ever. So you're going to get moved if teams can't rely on you, man. And when you're healthy, you're great. But the window
for the Wizards because they're not going to play Trae Young. And they're going to lose. They need to finish bottom 4 or they lose their pick.
Yeah.
Right? So now you have Anthony Davis, and he's making so much money, they're going to have to get rid of him. So, right, that's what he's going to force them to do. But, I mean, I think that's a pretty decent situation, man. I mean, obviously DC's not, whatever, but, I mean, with those young kids, it's so you'd have Sarr and Davis, and then, you know what I mean?
Trey Johnson.
Obviously Trae Young and Carrington. And then whoever you get in the top 4, maybe you get the Bands or you get one of these guys.
And then you're cooking with gas. But when I saw the graphic of those guys, there's just a graphic they made of Trae Young and Anthony Davis on a Wizards uniform. When I look at it, it's just this isn't going to work. Just from looking at it, you know what I mean? But when you think about the talent,
it should work.
It's funny, you know what I mean? Trae Young, not really a winner, but talented as hell. I've always thought Trae Young, man, next level talent. AD has won, right? People are going to put an asterisk around that win, but never available.
He out in that bubble, though.
Yeah, but never available, right? So you look at it this shit is just just throwing people together. But when you really look at the talent, you're man, this is if this clicks and people stay healthy. I mean, this is a talented roster. They could do something if they add a couple more pieces and do something here. So it'll be super interesting to see what happens. But yeah, that's another team that has to finish in the bottom 4. They'll be doing themselves.
The Warriors might be tanking, dude. I don't know what they're doing, but you might as well. Shit.
It's hard to tell now, man.
The NBA needs to figure out something, though, man.
They do, and that's what they thought they had. It's the lottery. So just because you tank doesn't mean that you're not going to get a high pick. But they got to do something. There's a lot of shit the NBA has to figure out here.
I mean, you can't be taken before the All-Star break, and that's what's happening.
No. Yes, that's clearly what's happening. It's not even. It's so blatant too, and that's what's crazy. Is I'm not going to get in this whole hard-earned money, but I am. You know what I mean? People are going there, right? Bringing their kids to see a product.
That's what MJ would say.
Yeah, you get one chance, maybe that you spent this money and you bought the tickets 2 months ago for Christmas for your kid, to see whatever player on the team that they want to see play. Maybe it's Laurie Market, whatever. And you go, and then you guys should lose on purpose. I don't know, man. Play to win, but that's not the way this is built until they change something that forces them. I heard a clever thing, and it was I don't know how you make, and it's not this simple, but at some point losses become wins in regards to like some metric of where you're going to draft. So it forces teams to need to try to win. And I don't know how you do it, but I don't know, man. It's about as bad in the NBA. The tanking is bad. Football, even though football should be worse because truly when you have the worst record, you get the first pick. But it's not as bad because I don't think NFL teams really tank until like the last week or two. You know what I'm saying? Or 3, right?
Yeah, they're not. I mean, they're not doing it halfway through the season.
No. So anyway, I'll get the
other thing is in the NFL, sometimes you don't have to try to tank and you can take. In basketball, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're gonna get 40 tonight. Sit you out the rest of the game. You're tripping. Right. Basketball is different, man, because one player can change the whole thing. In the NFL, it doesn't really happen like that. But so that sort of puts a bow on the trade deadline. Obviously, there's some, stuff to be desired for the offseason. We'll see what happens. I don't think any of the favorites. Obviously, I think. The only team, OKC, we didn't say I think got Kevin. Was it Kevin Herter? That'll help.
No, Jared McCain went to OKC. Herter went to Detroit.
That'll help. That helps Detroit a lot. That was Chicago helping Detroit. That helps. Yep. And then you have the Lakers. I saw Gil talking about the Lakers getting Luke Kennard, and he was just like, "Am I like in a bad dream right now? Like, what are they doing?" Obviously he's a shooter, but I don't know. It's not going to help him. It doesn't matter. So, I think it's status quo. We'll see what happens. Let's jump into the All-Star break. I hadn't seen this when Todd brought it up to me, so I'll let him introduce, what's going to happen at the slam dunk contest, which they might as well just freaking cancel All-Star weekend.
Cancel the slam dunk contest, bro. Like, cancel that shit. And I'm saying that Matt McClung saved the NBA the last 3 years. I mean, without him, we're looking at Carter Bryant. We're looking at Jace Richardson. We're looking at who else is in the dunk contest?
Rashad Johnson and your boy Jackson Hayes.
Oh, Jackson Hayes. Who I'm probably not even going to tune into that. I might if I'm bored. Like my whole childhood, like NBA All-Star Weekend was something I looked forward to as a kid. My whole life, it was the best. Right, the Saturday night before, right? You got the 3-point contest. The dunk contest. Back in the day, there were big names. I would enter all of them. Even back when it was Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, and that was probably as recent as I'll get because it's been so bad.
NBA players that actually play.
Yes, like we had to have McClung come in and save it, and McClung did that. He was incredible. 3 straight years. I don't blame him for not doing it again. It serves him no purpose. He's won 3 straight years in a row. Hasn't missed a dunk. He can't go any higher than that, right? Like someone else
value for himself by letting this dunk contest be as bad as it is.
Yes, and then the NBA can't dig up any. Like no NBA player has the balls to want to do this. Like no one wants to step up and do it. It's sad, man.
Tell Ant Edwards he has to.
Yes, like it's crazy. Like everybody's too cool now, and then the game is so damn bad.
It is.
Like, back in the day, I don't know when this changed, man. Like. Maybe it wasn't always like wildly competitive on defense where guys were trying to get hurt. But back in the day, man, like when Jordan and Kobe and those guys, like they were playing defense. Like those games were entertaining. Now
you want to know? You want to know? I can tell you.
No, because you're gonna say it's LeBron and it's got nothing to do. I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Plenty of people that say it's LeBron because he's too friendly.
LeBron. How can LeBron control all of that? Look, LeBron, if someone else wants to play hard, they can play hard, man. Unless everybody's a follower.
Man. LeBron controls. He has the most power.
Unless everybody's a follower, some people should say like "fuck LeBron." Then, and I'm going to play hard. I wanted to be in this NBA All-Star game since I was a kid.
You got traded. You got cut for saying that.
Since I was a damn kid, I wanted to be in this game. I'm not going to not play hard.
It's crazy. I can't believe it, but I know. But Kobe's locking up.
It was great. It was, man. I look forward to it so much. It was great, right? And even these days, like you'll still have some big names in the 3-point contest, and people like. Even Steph, when he shot with Ionescu, he had nothing to gain from that, man. But he's like,
she shot as good as Ant did, who won, and so Steph had to beat Ant's best time. Like Steph could have easily, went out there and not done anything positive.
He got fried for losing to her, right?
She was cooking with that little ball.
But yeah, exactly. But he would have got fried for losing to her, man. Like, 100%. But he did it. He did it. Like. Don't put yourself out there, man. This is about competition and dudes just don't want to like compete anymore, and I hate it.
Bro. So you got let's go through the slam dunk or the 3-point contest because you have like Bobby Portis Jr. is like,
what the fuck?
Come on, man.
Come on, dude. What?
Stop it.
Okay, stop it.
So you got Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Norman Powell, Tyrese Maxey.
I don't want Norman Powell either. Like, no, I don't want his ass.
I like Book and Murray. I like Knipple. I like Book and I like Knipple.
Yes, thank you. Love that.
The craziest thing that might be crazier than these bums in the slam dunk contest is the fact that Damian Lillard's in the 3-point contest, who I thought he was rehabbing right now. So apparently he's healthy enough to shoot the 3-point contest, but they couldn't get any big names besides Book or Knipple. Because, like, obviously, look, Tyrese Maxey and Donovan Mitchell could shoot, but if you put real 3-point shooters in there, they're getting smashed. They're not making out the first round. So, you know.
At least we got some shooters in the 3-point contest. Portis, get out. I don't want to see Cat. Like, he's not in it this year, but he's been in it in the past. I think he even won one. But get out. Like, at least there's some shooters in there. I can respect the 3-point contest, you know?
Book almost won as a rookie. That was the year that he went up against Steph Clay in the semifinals, and Steph and Clay tied and beat Book, and then Clay beat Steph. Clay was the
lightest skinned 3-point contest of all time. That's how you know that's the splash. That's the lightest skinned 3-point contest of all time. But those are, I mean, that's amazing though. Like back when Clay and Steph and Dame, when he was at his peak, and all those guys were shooting.
They were all doing it, man.
I mean, damn, give me like.
There was two dudes in there. I forget who it was. They didn't shoot particularly well, but they almost got doubled up by Steph and Clay. But dudes were still out there trying to do it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Like,
and give now it a shot. It's like they got an injured person. They got someone that's on an IR. I think he might as well be in the 3-point contest. How the hell is Damian Lillard shooting fucking threes this year? If he doesn't go out and try to win games from Portland Trailblazers, they should take their fucking pick away.
Agree. Yeah, what's
he doesn't actually play. If he sits out the rest of the year and he shoots in this, they should take their pick away. Yeah, because bro. He's making $50 million a year to shoot in the 3-point contest, and I love Dame, but that's crazy.
It is crazy.
I'm very upset right now.
That's fired up. He's fired up. This NBA dude, like
3-point contest, and he's injured.
Dude, I used to love it.
I love Dame.
Yeah, I used to love this thing, but they need to figure it out. You know, Adam Silver, you got to do something here, bro. You got to do something here. Even the skills competition, man, they're too cool. They're throwing the ball in front of them, doing that like I'm kind of sore jog through it all. I just want people that want to compete. Like, it's not entertaining to me. The 3-point contest is the one thing where, I mean, guys are trying to obviously hit the shots and, you know, and get to it. But besides that, it's bad, man. It's almost, you need to force people to be in the dunk contest. I need Ant Edwards. Shit, give me Cooper Flag. I don't care. Like, give me some guys that just have the highest vertical in the league and make them have to do it.
Well, no one's gonna, the All-Star game's bad too because no one wants to get hurt. You don't want to get hurt in the All-Star game. I get that, but outside of Steph making like 18 threes or whatever the hell he made in that one
that's fire.
All-Star game, there's nothing to watch. You just watch people throw oops to each other. You might as well. Maybe you just do the 3-point contest and you do like. Maybe do mid-range with a hand. Maybe just do different skill competitions, which is what the NFL needs to do with the Pro Bowl. I didn't even watch one thing on that, but they need to have skill competitions.
Yeah.
And also, one thing I did see on Instagram, though, did you see how much better Jamar Chase is catching the ball than everyone?
No, I didn't, but I'm not surprised.
They were doing like their jugs machine, one hand, like balls cooking at him. Justin Jefferson, everyone's dropping him. Jamar Chase is like,
just no problem.
Like, dude, and then there's one, they made him put these big-ass gloves on. They were, like, this big. I don't know how they could catch a football. Everybody's dropping them. Jamar Chase is just, like...
Suction cup.
I mean, they should do something like that in basketball where you just literally show how good people are and just forget the game because the game's trash anyways.
It is trash. I don't know how you do it. They're trying different things. U.S. versus the world, drafting. It's not East-West anymore. None of this shit's working.
And so there's this Kia Shooting Stars thing with we can't even tell you what it is because we don't know what it is, but there's 2 active players, and then a legend on each team. And it's called Shooting Stars, so I don't know what they're going to do, but it's...
Is that where they, like, if they shoot at spots, and then they got to hit the half-court shot, remember? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? I don't know.
Scotty Barnes and Chet, which I don't know why Scotty Barnes there. I don't know. Did he make the All-Star team? I don't think so.
I think he might have, actually.
The East sucks. And then you got Rip Hamilton on that team. You got it's called Team Cameron, and you can tell me why it's called that because I don't know why. Unless I guess they all went to Duke. So
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson, I'm assuming he went to Duke because Knipple and Corey Maggette went to Duke.
And
then
Corey Maggette, shout out Corey Maggette, who I saw at the Equinox in Newport Beach about 5 months ago. Still in good shape.
So you got those guys against Team Harper. There's two Harpers that are related, which is Ron Harper Sr. and Ron Harper Jr., and then Dylan Harper. I don't think they're related. Maybe they are. I don't know. And then you got the Knicks, which is Cat and Brunson with Allen Houston, who Allen Houston was a hooper.
Beast. That boy had a burner. He could shoot that ball. I used to love him. Yeah,
me too, man. He was a beast, bro. So I don't know what that is, but that doesn't seem super interesting to me either. I don't know, man. The 3-point contest will be interesting. I wish they would just – what they need to do, I don't know how you do it because you don't want to, like, pay them a ton of money to do it. You got to do something, though, to make them want to do it. Like, in baseball, I think in baseball the All-Star game determines home field advantage for the World Series.
I think so.
I don't think you can do that, but you don't want to do that. But you need to do something where there's some kind of impact.
But if you think about the baseball and the home run derby, a lot of the big names are stepping up to be in the home run derby. So all NBA players, I don't know what to tell you, but have some balls. And
I wish Steph would just go out there and win it 8 years in a row. You know what I mean?
Right?
It's like someone should do that. You know?
I'm just like,
why would Ant want to put his Oakley his like orange Oakley glasses on and go yam on? Win the slam dunk contest. Why not?
Yeah, you talk crazy. Yeah, agreed.
It'd be perfect.
Damn, bro. I don't know, man. It's
I'm
sad.
Hot, dude. I don't know. This lineup of people in the slam dunk contest is crazy work.
It's the worst I've ever seen, and that's saying something. So you can't tell me there's one guy on that list where you would ever want to see in a dunk contest. Not one. So
Jackson,
I'm sick of seeing like 7-footers in the dunk contest too. I don't like that at all. Like the last like tall dunker that
Dwight Howard.
Probably Dwight Howard. And I don't know how tall Aaron Gordon is.
Where I was when I watched the Superman dunk contest. That's how dope the dunk contest used to be.
But Aaron Gordon, I don't know how tall you want to say Aaron Gordon is. What, 6'9", 6'10"?
But he was crazy.
Those were crazy. Both those with Levine were some of the best of all time. But I don't know.
How is there not Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins and Vince Carter or Clyde Drexler or whoever, like the best players in the league doing this stuff?
They're not built the same, I guess, man. Sad, Maddie.
Horrible, bro. But anyways, man, we went through the Super Bowl, gave you all the picks. Hopefully you paid your rent on it. Went through the trade deadline and, see there's a lot of trades that didn't happen, some crazy things that did happen. You got Kristaps Porzingis and Anthony Davis, who might as well be on IR, who got traded. So we'll see how that goes. And, let us know, in the comments what you think about Kashad Johnson versus Jace Richardson in the slam dunk contest.
Sure.
All right, y'all. Until next time, there's one thing you can't do.
Can't teach taste. Peace.